Welcome to episode 21 of Our Time Is Now. We have a special one on the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a tribute to the late, great New Jack. This is Wrestling with Time number 7 with my host, Tree J, the RoadStar Roden. What up, brother? Let's get into it.
Yo, what's up?
What knowledge you got to spit for these kids today? You're going to just let them know a little basics or what? Just a little bit of the oomph?
Well, how about we don't go PG and we bring it OG?
Extreme.
Original.
It's going to go down. It's going to go down. Something that this next generation hasn't really heard of. We are going to be discussing the late, great New Jack, who I'm a little bit iffy on, but you know what? Can never deny it. The man was a great entertainer. God bless his soul. May he rest easy forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. In this corner, weighing in at 195 pounds, he is from Long Island, New York, the challenger, Time Warp. However, from here on and forever, our time is now.
You know, I was thinking about not answering it like you didn't answer my two and just give you a big fuck you for a couple of minutes. But I was
You were thinking about what, you little dickhead? Hold on 1 second. I got no volume in here right now.
I'm not even plugged in yet. I'm just gotta get in
Oh, no, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, dude, honestly, I am not going to lie. I'm glad you called me the second time, bro.
What, were you sleeping?
No, I took some edibles, bro, and like nodded the fuck out, bro.
I just ate 2 of them.
I just had a Wonka fucking gummy worm, like a little bit over an hour ago, beginning of the movie. And that shit sent me on my merrily way.
I gotta find something to hold the phone.
I'm debating what color to go tonight. We did red last time for Kane, so I'm debating like we got the green, we got the blue, we got every other color in between.
Go to blue for New Jack. Blue for New Jack.
Blue for the great New Jack.
I just got finished watching The Dark Side of the Ring of him.
Me too, bro. Literally, that's why I said like, yo, let's rock it 9, because if we were gonna rock it 8, I didn't have a chance to get in and watch it. I wanted to get in, watch the Dark Side documentary on YouTube, you know, fucking take some notes, the usual.
No, I'm not going to do any notes. I'm just going to freehand it because I've watched a lot of...
I've watched it before.
Can you hear them? Hold on. I want to see. Can you hear them playing?
Hear what playing?
You don't hear any background music of music?
No.
Okay, good, because they're practicing.
I told you, bro. I told you last time. I said, bro, even if they get on, bro, I said, you're probably with your headset, you're good, because it's like a noise cancellation microphone. It's direct in.
I didn't know how it was going to sound. Yeah, Corona.
COVID-19. So,
well, thank God, New Jack wasn't labeled a COVID death.
Yo, so this is Jerome Young, bro. We're gonna kind of do a recap on Jerome Young, aka or BKA New Jack, for all the real wrestling fans out there. It's kind of gonna do a recap of like the Dark Side of the Ring documentary / his career, but I mean like that shit had like all like the main highlights I feel of his career.
That pretty much was a good 3/4 of his career.
I think those were like the huge pinnacle points within his underground wrestling career. You being an underground wrestler, I think knows better than anybody. If you haven't really made it to the WWE, the mainstream or whatever, it's kind of like very few pivotal points that are like, holy shit, you know, like this is something worth looking at, you know, like.
I've got to take part in a lot of good matches. Probably over the past couple of years, I got to ref 2 of my best friends' matches in the professional wrestling business, and I was very happy to be the referee of a main event for a world title match.
Hell yeah.
So, I I'm the type of referee that you can have fun and games with all you want, but when it's go time, oh, there's a different person that comes out. It's all business. New Jack, he was the same way. Behind the scenes, he was a great guy, but when it came to business, it was go time.
I mean, you're gonna bring me to a different point, and I don't want to really say it this early in the show, but I'll get to it later on, which will bring me back to the beginning, which will bring the pivotal point. I mean, we can start off on just the fact that, I mean, in the intro, you know how they always do. He stabbed the motherfucker during a match, bro. Like, that's how
he stabbed more than he didn't just stab Mass Transit, who was a 17-year-old guy who was about 400 pounds. He stabbed Vic Grimes. He stabbed Hunter Red. He stabbed more people than probably anybody in professional wrestling when it comes to even fans.
Brings me to the point. I mean, can we literally say this is like the real OG of wrestling? Like, this is the guy that rappers wish to be this guy. Rappers wish they could be this.
He is the original
wrestler.
Gangster.
Damn right.
He is the original gangster. If anybody wants to go watch like old Smoky Mountain Wrestling off of WWE,
with your boy Jimmy.
Great stuff on there. Yeah, and you want to know, New Jack was founded by Jim Cornette.
Your boy JC, bro.
And it's very. I hate him. I love his mind. I hate him as a person.
He's a crazy cocksucker. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
his mind, the way
New Jack. When he came into professional wrestling, Jim Cornette tried to accentuate the good and get rid of the bad. At the time, New Jack could talk.
Yeah,
New Jack could talk.
He definitely had charisma. I cannot deny the man charisma.
I think I said it on one of the episodes.
We've talked about him on previous episodes too, 100%.
He talked. It was a match between. It was him and his partner, who were the gangsters in ECW, or somewhere. No, Smoky Mountain. And they were facing Ricky Morton and the other guy, Bobby Eaton, the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
And in the middle of his promo, New Jack said, "I ain't no watermelon seed spitting, cotton pitting."
Yeah.
And he was the guy who blurred. You want to talk about blurred the lines? You thought Brian 100%. Pillman acted the way he did in real life? No, New Jack acted crazy motherfucker. That guy would snort fucking 5-6 lines of cocaine. He'd go,
yo,
boom, fucking kick ass.
Dead ass. I mean, even the
there
narrator,
was not a match.
I mean, Chris Jericho, even as narrating the show, the most provocative and controversial characters in wrestling comes from Chris Jericho's mouth. I mean, he lived up to the name, bro, because, I mean, that is the most jacked up forehead I have ever seen for New Jack. That motherfucker cut his shit with razor blades every different angle in the 360 degree circumference.
Somebody else's forehead's a lot worse than New Jack's.
That's a tough one to fuck
up. No.
Oh, yeah, Abdullah the Butcher?
Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, I'm sure. But those two motherfuckers are in the same class.
Yeah, but but here's the thing. Between Abdullah and New Jack had all of it right here in one spot.
Abdullah was
Abdullah's would go all the way to the back of his head.
Yeah. I don't know.
New Jack knew where to stop at a certain point.
Yeah, but Abdullah is nowhere near as insane as New Jack was. Like when it comes to like.
Well, all the matches we saw of Abdullah, all the matches we saw here in the States was from WCW and NWA. Now, if you would have seen some of the stuff that he did in Puerto Rico, against Bruiser Brody, you would not be saying that.
Well, I'm saying Bruiser Brody was one guy that was murdered, right? Maybe it was Abdullah the Butcher.
He was murdered by Invader Jose Gonzalez.
Ah, that's who it was.
In Puerto Rico in 1986.
Yo, if you think about it, like I think about it, I've compared side by side Elias and Bruiser Brody, and I'm like, that could be your fucking son. Maybe it is.
No, it's I've seen the documentary on the Bruiser Brody death, and his son is mad skinny.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying in general, like Bruiser versus Elias, like if you match them up side by side, bro, I'm like, there's a resemblance there. There's some sort of resemblance there. Maybe he was cloned. He was cloned in a laboratory by Elon Musk, and they brought Dogecoin to the moon. And Brody came back with a son named Elias.
No, if anybody looked like Brody,
yeah,
it would have been Luke Harper.
A little bit. I'm gonna post the photo right here though of what I'm showing about.
Luke Harper looked more along the lines of
these motherfuckers look like father and son. I'm telling you. And we'll throw Luke in there for the triple onset. Right there.
Me personally, I think that Luke Harper.
I mean,
Brody Lee. Ironically, he puts his name to Brody. So
maybe he is. Maybe he is.
What do I know? I'm just a fat kid who knows nothing except professional wrestling and stock tips.
So I mean, like at this point, Jim Cornette called him and said, "Yo, like at one point I heard he was a bounty hunter and had a few justifiable homicides." I mean, it's like
100% real.
It sounds like Jim feared him in general. So I mean.
No, Jim didn't know who was Jerome and who was New Jack.
That's the whole thing, though. I'm saying, like, it sounded like Jim feared him. Like, he's like, this guy's a crazy son of a bitch who I'm just going to cut him a check for putting on a good show.
Of course he's a crazy son of a bitch. Why the fuck wouldn't you think a guy who walks around with a surgical scalpel is not going to be a friendly person? Fucking guy carries around an 8-inch surgical blade. He carries an X-Acto knife, a fucking scalpel with him all the time. What the fuck?
Bro, he's from Harlem. One of the toughest spots on the planet, bro, to come up from, especially like.
You want to know something? I've always I know he's from New York, but he doesn't look like he's from New York. He looks like he's from Charlotte.
I didn't think so either, bro. I thought he was South too, like the way he was Buck Wild. I said,
yeah, like Pennsylvania, like. Like Philly
Carolina,
or
Mississippi,
at least,
maybe
like North Carolina. Yeah.
Mississippi, the Bayou type shit. Like, I will gut you like a fucking
Alabama, gator. Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy.
Alabama, Louisiana.
I mean,
Tennessee, somewhere. He does not look like he did not look like he was from New York.
I mean, when you have another tough motherfucker say he was a tough motherfucker, and that tough motherfucker calling you a tough motherfucker is the Sandman, who's also another bad motherfucker. I mean, you're a tough motherfucker, bro. I mean, Sandman was a badass, bro. I remember him in his PG WWE days just coming out, like, smashing a beer can. Like, that's so badass. You go back and watch some ECW footage, and you're like, oh, my God, that was, like, light work. Oh, he smashed a beer can on his head?
Speaking of ECW,
taking shit.
Paul Heyman was on Talking Smack on Friday night when it was announced that he passed.
You already beat me to it. So since you already brought that up, we are gonna drop that segment somewhere along here because I actually wanted to play that to open up the show. Didn't know if you already saw it yet. We watched it. So
of course I saw it.
In the Fair Use Act, nonprofit act, here is where we are gonna throw that joint. Let him know, Paul. Speak to him. Right.
The only reason why that they didn't use New Jack in WWE was because, as you guys just saw, Paul Heyman clearly stated that he was too extreme for the 100%. PG era. Now, he even says he says in his eulogy, you can go on the WWE network, you can watch his matches. That we have no control of. You can watch his matches, but we can't mention him on television because he was too extreme. He pushed, Paul Heyman said it the best. He pushed that needle and pushed that note so far that if there was still any type of realism in professional wrestling, out of the top 3 greats that could probably keep kayfabe alive and believing in who you are would be Brian Pillman, New Jack, and 100% I Chris Benoit.
Another controversial figure that's come up numerous times on our episodes, and we're only on episode 20, and he's come up a lot more than even most recent wrestlers on podcast because he's that.
We're nearing the anniversary. He died in 2007. We're in 21, so that's 7 to 17. That's 10, 18, 19, 21, 2. We're now approaching 14 years
on the 22nd
of Chris Benoit being dead. June 19th, I believe.
Oh shit. Okay. Yo, it's funny. I was actually playing No Mercy and like Chris Benoit's in the game, and yo, bro, there's just so many great characters in the.
Do you know that do you know if anybody has PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360? There is a secret code that you can put into SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, and his character is in the game.
What?
Yes, they did have his character. They had his character built in the game, but when all this happened, they had to cut the character out. But the character settings are in the code in the game. So if anybody knows how to, hack games and stuff like that, you can play as Chris Benoit in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008.
I know you remember Estro. Well, Estro and his brother, bro, like used to create characters. So like in my game, they created like Hulk Hogan. They created like Goldberg based off of like online, the best presets to give them, the best move set to give them.
Yes.
And shit like that.
I remember those days.
I mean...
that's how you see, that's how you used to get Brock Lesnar in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006.
I mean, in the wise words of New Jack, he said, you have to create something that's never been seen before. And I think he accomplished his mission along the lines of, well, we've never seen this shit before. And that was the whole, to people, wow, this is new. This is like Sesame Street on drugs. Now they're not just hitting each other with chairs, but now they're stabbing motherfuckers.
It's Sesame Street with melanin.
Yeah.
It's Sesame Street with melanin.
Oh, we said melanin. With chairs. We have steel chairs and knives. Elmo loves knives.
Yeah, and lots of melanin. What's melanin?
So yeah, I mean, so like we discussed earlier, it was safe to say he's the first OG of wrestling. I mean, this is a literal gangster, bro. Hood gangster from the streets, from the block. He said, he quoted,
didn't he used to come out to DMX or some shit back in the day?
That I don't know, but
didn't he used to come out to DMX or he used to come out to some really hard rap music.
Yeah, probably some really Outlaws or some shit. I mean,
it probably Outlaws. It was probably either Outlaws or it was probably
some gangster
Tech 9
or just some gangster hardcore shit. But I mean, he said, "I will beat you like I own you."
NWA.
Bro, he said, "I'll beat you like I own you," bro. In the documentary, Jim Cornette said, "If Eddie Murphy was a wrestler instead of a comedian, that would be him."
It would be New Jack.
And he would make you hate him because he would just talk and talk and talk, and he could just yap all fucking day long because of the charisma being so high that, you don't know what to do with the guy. He's all over the place.
The cocaine did a lot to help it, The cocaine broke that barrier of being shy and just saying whatever the fuck you want.
Hell yeah. I mean, being a prominent black figure in wrestling where he was at, I mean, he put fear into the racist ass crackers. I mean, they were scared, bro, 100%. I mean, oh shit. he was inspired by Eazy-E. He mentioned that he had like the Raider gear, the gold chain. I mean, he incorporated that into his character. So that's like, fuck the police, coming straight from the underground. You know, like, he just had that mentality to him, like, fuck the authority. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm running the show, and because I'm making you money, you ain't going to say shit. Just keep cashing my checks.
New Jack, you know, you will be terribly missed. I've seen a lot of your wrestling interviews with Sean from Kayfabe Commentaries, and you're very, very smart. You're a smart motherfucker, bro. New Jack was in Beyond the Ring.
Yeah.
The documentary that was created in 1998.
I actually have it with The Rock on the cover.
He did a couple of scenes in there where he hung out with Barry, and Barry tried to get him into Hollywood and everything, and the Hollywood casting directors was like,
Barry Windham? Barry who?
Barry's something Jewish name.
Oh, okay.
Movie director. He's from here in Long Island. I can't remember the name. But Barry Blumenthal or some shit like that.
Okay.
It's some Jewish last name. I'm not sitting there trying to be racist to Jews, but it's the best way how I can describe it.
I can't say it, but
he took him to go and do a couple of auditions, and the Hollywood casting directors was like, yeah, well, you know, he could probably be the leading man. And then, you know, the person was like, no, I don't see him as a leading man. I see him as like Denzel's friend, or, you know, as Samuel's friend, or, you know, like they were actually, you know, watching that today. They were actually being racist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, because
they were stereotyping him. They were stereotyping him because of the energy that he had. They're stereotyping him to be that he was way too more energetic than Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson or any of the prominent black guys in Hollywood.
Since we're talking actors, want to give a huge shout out to Kevin Nash. He just tweeted and a notification popped up over your head. I don't know what he said. He said if you're over 40 and something, but we'll get to that later. Shout outs to Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash, bring it, Kev.
Ooh. But anyway, I mean, it was predominantly, like a white and redneck audience, as Jim Cornette described it, and New Jack just really straight pissed them off. Especially, I think, when he cut the vignette where he said, "O.J. Simpson, keep up the good work, brother. Now we got 2 less white bitches to worry about." I was like, whoa, controversial shit.
2 left stiffs to worry about. Yeah.
Stiffs? I thought he said bitches. I don't know. They censored it.
Keep up the good work, OJ.
Anyway, I mean, that was like some like, whoa, bro, where's the apple juice at to mix with the OJ? I had no idea that D-Lo was actually half of the Gangsters. And I didn't know that he was a 26-year pro. I mean, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking I'm almost 30. So, yeah, he's been around since I was young. So he's definitely at least in the industry 25 years, but he's a 26-year pro.
He was around when we were 4 fucking years old.
That's what I'm saying. And
he's been wrestling since we were 4.
I love the little D-Lo where he used to do like the little, "You're looking at the real deal now. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to kick your sorry ass out on the street."
Yeah.
So he was kind of always in that, like, gangster mentality from when he came in. They was talking about Mustafa. I guess he was part of the original Gangsters too, about smoking pencil shavings and a blunt. Sandman said
Mustafa was his. Yeah,
Sandman was like, "I'm good on that." D-Lo pleads the fifth when they asked D-Lo.
He rolls up a blunt of pencil shavings.
Well,
you know the shit weed. When you take a number 2 pencil.
It's with weed. He rolled it with weed.
No. It was straight up pencil shavings. What the fuck are you talking about? Rewatch it.
Okay.
New Jack literally sits there and says, "He came up to me with a blunt full of pencil shavings."
No, that was Sandman.
That's all that was in it. Was pencil shavings.
That was Sandman. New Jack said, "You're probably right.
You're gonna die."
He said, "This is that new shit. Yeah, pencil shavings." And I mean, he was tweaking. Like that guy Mustafa was always tweaking, like on camera. So I mean, like
there was New Jack even says he was like, there was one night he was smoking that shit, and then I get a phone call in the in the hotel, and the cops are fucking got him on the ground, and he's screaming, and he looks at me and he goes, "No, Jack, it's all right. They're trying to fuck me."
Yeah. He thought everybody wanted to fuck him.
I was yeah. Jack, it's all cool. They don't want to fuck me.
Oh,
it's like, what the fuck?
Yo, it was some crazy shit going on.
I seen a video of New Jack crashing one of the kayfabe commentary episodes with Jim Cornette, and Mustafa's with him. Mustafa's not saying one fucking word. He's just got his glasses on, standing there in the corner, and he looks all fucked up.
I mean, brings me to my next point. When I didn't even realize that like the Rock and Roll Express was wrestling around the same time these guys were versus the Gangsters, but I mean, like, fucking
the Rock and Roll Express is still wrestling to this day.
I mean, fucking Ricky Morton. I mean, they reenacted
Ricky Morton and Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, I mean, they reenacted pretty much the 92 police beating of Rodney King with the nightsticks.
Yes, which was great.
White people were about to riot out the venue because they literally beat the
angles.
Shit. That's probably why Ricky Morton is so fucked up today. It's probably because he got hit so many goddamn heads.
Let me tell you something. Out of Smoky Mountain, Jim Cornette, I think, even says it. It was one of the highest rated moments in Smoky Mountain wrestling history.
I'm sure, bro, because they were like beating the shit out of him like for real, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting fucked up," like gashed him open, bro. I mean, he got on there talking shit about the NAACP. I mean, there was a lot of N-word on TV around the time this guy was talking. He was just constantly spewing that shit.
That's all he did.
And
that's
he
all
threw that
he
shit
said.
around. That was his power coin, and it was nobody's gonna take this from me. Like, y'all want to use it? Well, I'm gonna own it, and he owned it. I mean, there's no other way to say it, but New Jack was raw, explicit, raw. Agreed.
Rawest dog in the group.
I feel like Snoop Dogg would have
rawest dog in the group.
I feel like Snoop Dogg would have an issue saying that he was more raw.
No. I think Snoop Dogg would sit there and go, "Yeah, you want a job?
This guy's a real.
Be my bodyguard."
He's like, this motherfucker here, real OG. Like, I ain't never stabbed nobody. This motherfucker did it in the ring on TV.
No. It'll be like the time where he was where Guy Fieri.
This motherfucker stabbed him on TV. Snoop Dogg.
It'll be
he almost took his motherfucking life. New Jack.
It'll be like when. How come every time I talk, you're talking?
Because I was making a fucking song, bro. Get over it.
Fuck your music. This is wrestling.
Fuck a wrestling tune.
Singing.
Snoop Dogg and New Jacks. Right,
fucking New Jack will show up to Snoop Dogg's house. He'll open the door, and Snoop Dogg will be like, "That's my main man, New Jack." Doesn't even know the guy. He just knows him from TV and just goes, "That's my boy right there." Be like, "You want a job? Here's a 45. Protect the house."
You want a job? Protect the house, motherfucker.
You want a job? Here's a 45. Protect the house. Everything in there is yours if you want it. Just let me know so I can put it on the books.
Yes, sir.
Taxes, write-offs. You know how it is, baby.
2720. I'm just trying to get the timestamps over here, like so. This way I could label it better a little bit. The show. But so we're moving into ECW days now. I mean, this is the most edgy wrestling ever. I already know you agree with me on that. Paul Heyman was ECW, as they say, the genius, the mastermind behind it.
He wrote ECW wrestling shows on fucking pizza boxes and napkins.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A diner.
He was like Eminem, bro. With his fucking
Tommy
rhymes,
Dreamer has told a couple of these stories to where that Paul Heyman came up to him and he had shit written on a toilet paper that he thought of when he was in the bathroom.
I mean, between the weapons, the sexuality, the explicitness of the show is definitely the most raunchy, which is why it was considered like, I guess, like an underground TV show. I remember my cousins, Matt and Brian, always like, "You never seen ECW?" And I was like, "No." And I really didn't. So until I went back and watched it.
Make their television appearance the ECW didn't make their television appearance till WrestlePalooza in 1990. I want to say 7.
Yeah.
If Beyond the Ring is correct, 97 was when they launched into the pay-per-view stratosphere. WrestlePalooza or some shit like that from 96, 97. Yeah, WrestlePalooza from like 96, 97.
That's about right.
Is when they launched their first pay-per-view, which was barely legal. And after the end of the show, Paul Heyman calls Bruce Pritchard. And he says, hey, did you see it? And he goes, well, Paul, you exposed your business. And he goes, yeah, that's a good thing. And he goes, no, it's a bad thing. Because you're showing people a certain aspect of the business, not the full aspect. You're just showing them highlights. You're not giving them wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned Paul Heyman off of Bruce Pritchard for a little while. And then in 2001, Paul Heyman, I think, paid, like 7 or 8 ECW wrestlers, closed up shop, went to the WWE.
He paid them? What do you mean he paid them? Like he paid them and they got out?
No, he gave them like checks that he owed and everything, and then he closed down the business and went away.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Dreamer kept the dream alive for a little while.
I kind of wish Paul would have stuck with it.
Pretty much folded after that.
I think Paul would have been more successful if they would have kept running. I mean, maybe not today's day and climate.
It was a money issue. It was a money issue. He had a money issue with Spike TV and TNT TV because at the time he was going through a lawsuit with Turner Network Broadcasting, TBS, that used to host WCW. You got to remember, he was part of the Dangerous Alliance in WCW with Rick Rude, Stone Cold, all those guys. He managed them. You got to remember, he was Paul Lee Dangerously.
Yeah.
He was a manager in WCW. He had a lawsuit going on from like Jim Herd days from the 90s, and he got screwed out of that money. A lot of that money was supposed to go into ECW. He was banking, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was like a $1.8 million lawsuit he had against Jim Herd in WCW. He was banking on that money to get ECW off the ground. And then when new ownership came into WCW, they dropped the lawsuits. Because it was under a Jim Herd administration, not the new Eric Bischoff and everybody else. So that was the one good thing Eric Bischoff did for WCW, besides signing really good talent. He was able to get rid of a lot of long-standing lawsuits.
I used to hate him. Like when I was a kid, I always hated him. I read his book a couple years back. I used
to hate Eric Bischoff, but
I read his book in like
2007.
Yeah, I read it in like 2017 or 18 or some shit, and I was just like, he was dope.
Changed my mind about him.
I was reading it when I was in Norway like 3 years ago, 2017 or 18. And
I read it when it came out in 2007. I read it, I think, like the first 2 months it came out. I got it from the library.
It just made me realize how much of a great promoter he was and like how much of an impact he's had on the industry and where wrestling would be today without him, because he kind of elevated it to the point where WWE, WWF as it used to be, stole so many of his ideas that when they did hire him as a GM, he was still incorporating creative. And when they brought him back for that short stint, I was kind of very disappointed that they got rid of him that quick, because I was like, what the fuck are you guys even doing?
I wanted him to be on TV every week. When I heard he was going to be writing,
me too.
I was like, okay, cool. Can he be the general manager?
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking too.
Because he was great as a general manager. I would love to see him on SmackDown.
They should have had a GM, 100%.
No, we didn't get that. What we got was Paige instead.
Yeah, I remember when they gave us like the WWE
Eric
GMs
Bischoff's coming
and then
to SmackDown, and they were airing it on television.
Yeah,
Eric Bischoff's coming back. He will be the guest guest GM for the next month on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Come, tune in to SmackDown every Friday on Fox. Starring, Eric Bischoff's back.
Yeah.
And then as soon as WWE got the deal with Fox TV, Eric, you're fired.
Yeah.
Thank you. We used you for what you needed.
Yeah, I know.
We used your publicity to get us Fox TV.
And it sucks because, I mean, he was definitely one of the better, like we talk about GMs, like You go back, they had the GMs where there was like somebody runs SmackDown, somebody runs Raw, and then eventually it got to the point where they had to add a GM, so they started doing the guests, like the celebrity guests or like the guest GMs and shit for like a year while they searched for a new GM, and then they kind of never really got back into that aspect of having GMs, like general managers for the show. They kind of just like phased it out of the entire story writing.
But with New Jack, you know, I never knew New Jack had a toy.
Neither did I till he said it. Mom, I'm in Toys R Us.
I had no idea he had action figures. I had no idea.
I mean, it's fucked up because, like, I mean, New Jack. I mean, his mom was stabbed 5 times by his daddy, as he says, and 5 months later, I guess she was gonna walk away from him, like she was gonna walk out on him. And he shot her in the back of the leg. So I mean, it's insane, like to think about what this kid has gone through as like a 5-year-old.
He was able to grow up and remember that.
And I mean, like the thing is, as children, we remember the most traumatic things in our life. So his dad died when he was 5. So if you remember this all before the age of 5, this before going into kindergarten, preschool, seeing all this traumatic events, I remember some of the happiest days of my life before like kindergarten. Like I remember my dad, like, you remember when you asked if you were going to go to school? Well, you're finally going to start school next week, and it was preschool. And I remember like him like laying me down, like telling me that, like, you're gonna finally go to school. Like this kid like had someone shoot his mom instead. Like fucking not happy memories, but traumatic.
You know, New Jack's mom, I think I think Jerome's mom is still alive.
She might be.
I think she outlived her son.
I mean, they had Tiny the Terrible on there talking about the mass transit shit, and it's Eric Koulas. I mean, they cut him the fuck up.
Twin Towers.
They cut him the fuck up.
Oh, they caught him. Sandman said it the best in the interview on Dark Side of the Ring. So that's why Jack was pissed off. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, 17-year-old who lied he was 21. He was untrained. I mean,
word to the wise, to the young wrestlers out there. If you got 5-10 years experience, but you're getting in a ring with somebody who's got 15-20, you listen to him.
Yeah.
You don't decide what gets to be fucking done.
I mean, he was untrained. He was kind of a filler.
If the vet sits there and says, all right, I'll give you a few minutes of offense, I'm going to take the match. That's how it goes. Okay, that's fine. We'll just work it through as we go. You said I can get a little bit of offense when it's time to go home. That last 3 minutes, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Just let me get some offense in.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, 17-year-old kid, bro. Like, if you think back to when you were 17, you were heavy.
Said, I want to do this.
It don't matter.
I want to do that.
No. What he should have never did was lied about his age and said he was 21 with the experience. Because
that too.
When you're 17 years old, you're still fanboying, bro. You're still like, oh my God, I just met Stone Cold Steve Austin and I wanted to stunner him, you know.
In certain states, the legal age of consent, including in professional wrestling at that point, depends on the age that you're wrestling in the state.
Yeah.
So Eric Koulas was 17. That happened up in Rhode Island, I believe, right?
I think so.
Rhode Island, the legal age of consent in Rhode Island is the same as it is here in New York. It was 18 at the time. Now, 25 years later, it's 17 that you are considered an adult in New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, statehoods. That's when you're considered an adult. But back then, it was 18. You were considered an adult.
Yeah.
Not 17.
Yeah, I know. But still,
So
even 18, bro. 17, 18 is really not much difference. You're still a kid at 18.
He was able to talk his way to get him in there because he showed them tapes of him wrestling with the little guys. And technically, certain people who do promoting and stuff, they, midgets are a really good form of wrestling entertainment because it's actually quicker than actually what you would think. You would think it would be slower paced. It's actually faster, and it looks like Olympic wrestling.
I mean, I think he just wanted to do it, and like this is gonna bring me to the point. Like I think like he maimed that kid. That kid's career was definitely over after that match, even if it just begun.
50 stitches.
Yeah, he said I cut him. He said I ain't try to kill him, but I want him close to death. Like, that's a sinister quote.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like, if you think about it, The blade was never intended to be an X-Acto knife, he said, but that's what it was. Like you said, X-Acto knife's what he carried around. I mean, the kid's father was there. It was kind of sad to me. And I just think, like, if we want to talk about racism in America, this was like a perfect case of reverse racism. Like, I think New Jack just hated white people.
After New Jack cut him, the father was sitting there going, "He's 17. Fuck you, you." Like you're and then it was horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
I know. It really was, and it was sinister as fuck.
But at the same time,
I mean, the crowd was fired up.
A 17-year-old kid who thinks he's been in the wrestling business for 10 years has no right to go up to somebody who's, I would guess, early 2000s. No, that was late 90s. Figure New Jack's probably about 29, 30 years old. He was 58 when he died.
I hope they would have like expanded on it by now, but maybe before smartphones and cell phones and the internet age, the digital age, like maybe they didn't know better, or they just felt some sort of way. But now with everything connected, I hope they feel a different type of way. The security guard they interviewed, he said the crowd was fired up. I was like, of course, they almost watched a live snuff film on fucking live TV. Like, yeah, they're fired up. They're like, is this real? This was blurring the lines between reality and truth. And it's like, okay, well, it's fake, right? Wrestling's fake. No, this motherfucker almost died. Right there. Yeah, like this motherfucker almost died, you know? I mean, he had the defiant middle fingers.
Got 15 stitches in the head because 50 stitches because of that.
He had the defiant middle fingers when he was on the stretcher.
Middle fingers.
But I mean, like,
that didn't mean nothing
on a stretcher. I mean, he's ballsy though. I mean, every kid wrestler's dream to be on the big show, but was it really worth the cost of, like, well, you were a professional wrestler, now you're not a professional wrestler because you're almost dead. Or you almost died.
And he dies a couple of years later because he had gastric bypass surgery because number one, his parents let him eat way too fucking much.
Yeah, for sure.
Technically the kid he died of gastric bypass surgery complications.
I mean,
that's considered to be fault on the parents. Look how fucking fat the goddamn kid was. That's the parents' fault. It's not his fault.
And that was in 2002. I had that on my notes too, that he died in 2002 from gastric bypass. New Jack was kind of like, oh well, when they interviewed him, like, oh well, he died. Like, I'm like, that's kind of
it wasn't what he did. If it was what he did that killed him later on in life, he would be sorry for it. But he said it in the interview. It had nothing to do with me. It wasn't something that I did. So
I mean, even Sandman gets on there and he's like, yo, I bled like a stuffed pig that night to take a little heat off of him, off of New Jack. 50 stitches, like you said, definitely CTE early. If he was around today, it probably fucked him up to this day. He was never the same. It was definitely an assault and battery charge. But since he lied about his age and experience, he was found not guilty. So New Jack kind of got off lucky on this one because it was still a minor. It was still a minor.
Yes, but what?
Like if that was a rape case, would they be like, well, the girl lied about her ID, or we're going to let him off? No, they would never would.
What got New Jack off was the father was racially destroying New Jack in the middle of everything, calling him the N-word.
Yeah.
Paulie had to say it, and the judge said, for the record, what did he say? And Paulie looked at Jack, and he saw it in Jack's eyes. He said it, like, I'm sorry. He's like, he called him.
Yeah, that word.
And then everybody was like, oh,
yeah, he said that.
No.
Especially the one 80-year-old black guy on the jury.
Yes. So that's what really, yes, him being underage, lack of experience. Yes, that all counters into the suit. You're calling a black guy the N-word, and you're an old white man saying that. And now it's being told in front of everybody.
I mean, New Jack, you brought it back to the coke, and I mean, he literally quoted, he said, I'm the only one who snorted coke in the locker room every night. So every night. So I mean, it's safe to say
doing pills or drinking.
It's safe to say, like, in my opinion, it's fucked up, but when I was watching it, I was like, I've seen like other snippets through him throughout the years. I was like, it's safe to say thanks for the wrestling memories, but in reality, like, New Jack, you're a legend, but he was kind of a piece of shit. I think, in my opinion.
All the wrestlers who have dealt with New Jack have said this. New Jack is a horrible person.
Yeah.
Jerome Young.
Because he gets lost in the character too much, though. Too much. He can't.
Jerome Young.
He doesn't know how to blur
is
the lines.
a different person.
Yeah, supposedly.
Jerome Young is a very nice person. New Jack is a horrible person.
The
and
business and personal.
There were a lot of people that have even said it, and New Jack said it on one episode that he did with.
But if you think about it, like Eminem, Marshall Mathers is a great guy. Slim Shady is a piece of shit. He cuts his wife up with chainsaws. Slim Shady's a piece of shit. So I mean, like, you're still the same person, bro. The difference is Slim Shady never really did that shit. New Jack really did that shit, even being Jerome. There's the difference, in my opinion. Like, you actually did that shit.
Yes.
You didn't separate reality from fantasy and try to blur the lines. You made the lines bloody. You
took that other character and made it more real life.
Yeah. I mean, especially with, like, the Vic Grimes match. You brought it up earlier, like, the Vic Grimes. Like, he tased him, fucked him up. He said, I'm high as a motherfucker in the documentary. He's like, I was high as a motherfucker. And then, I mean, he threw him off the rafters, like 20 fucking plus feet through a fucking table. They said if he missed the ring by like a foot and a half, he would have been dead, paralyzed easily. But he
Vic
luckily
looks at me. Vic
dislocated
Vic looks
ankle.
At me and he goes, Jack, I can't feel my legs. And he goes, you're not gonna be needing when you're going. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, he threw him off the rafters through the table. The worst thing that guy had was a dislocated ankle instead of death, luckily, though.
Vic Grimes deserved it because a year before, Vic Grimes almost killed New Jack.
How so?
And the same stunt that what they did, except it was the same problem. Vic Grimes didn't want to go on the jump. There was 15 feet in the air. Vic Grimes didn't want to go. After they worked out the whole match and they wrestled all the way up to the top of the scaffolding, at the last second, Vic Grimes looked down and he said, I'm not going. And New Jack just grabbed him and said, fuck you, we're going. And they went.
Mm-hmm.
Vic Grimes, that was Vic Grimes' fault. Vic Grimes landed on him, cracked his skull open, broke his fucking skull.
Not really his fault if New Jack wanted to do it, though. Like, New Jack wanted to do it. Like, you're wrestling with a 250, 80-pound guy.
Hold on. It's not New Jack's fault. They had it planned. It was worked out by both wrestlers.
But then he said, I'm not for it. And the other guy still said, we're still doing it. So that's you.
At the last second, he said, no, I don't want to take the jump. D'Lo Brown said it in the, D'Lo Brown said it in the.
That's like saying, TJ, let's race on the LIE.
You tell New Jack you're gonna do something, you better do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's like us, like racing on the LIE, and I'm like, I don't want to do over 90, and you just like push my fucking leg down, and then we hit a wall. Like, motherfucker, that's your fault because you accelerated, I lost control.
Oh, 100%.
You know, like.
100%. But if you have everything pre-planned and everything's going the way it's supposed to go, here's
my next inference why I feel like he was kind of a piece of crap, though, is he had a 72-year-old Gypsy Joe who was supposedly impervious to pain, and because he was not selling New Jack stuff, I mean minus New Jack apparently, because you're gonna be feeling pain eventually. I mean, he beat the shit out of him with weapons, everything. Like, he fucked that guy up all over the arena. 72-year-old. He even said it. I beat a man who was 100 years old. I don't care. Like, 72-year-old man, you're beating the fuck up.
Yeah,
because
but
that was his gimmick, though. Impervious to pain. Yeah. You don't gotta cut the guy, stab the guy, shoot the guy, hit the guy, fuck him up.
But the problem is that nobody told Jack that was his gimmick.
Yeah.
Gypsy Joe went into the locker room, tried to work a match out with him, and at this point, New Jack, you ate your own words on this. You don't go to what, the vet, the rookie doesn't go to the vet.
Yeah.
At this point, if Gypsy Joe's been around for 30, 40 years and that's been his gimmick for 30, 40 years,
you should know,
he's the vet, not you. You should be listening
You're right.
to him.
100%. You're right.
So Gypsy Joe comes in the locker room and says, look, kid, I can teach you a couple of things. And New Jack just looked at him and said, nah, I'm good. And he walked out.
Yeah.
So if that was New Jack's fault.
I mean, that's the reason why WWE never touched him, in the words of Jim Cornette. He was too controversial.
If New Jack would have sat there for another 2 more minutes and at least let Gypsy Joe say, look, my character is I'm impervious to fucking hits.
I'm a Gypsy Joe.
Like,
he's trying to be like Hulk Hogan, bro. Like,
I eat it.
Hulking up.
Yeah.
And he said, no, well, now I'm going to cut you with a knife and fuck you up and end your life, you old bastard. But that's why WWE never really touched him. I mean,
He was
Not
too
gonna lie.
hardcore for the PG.
Not gonna lie. Still rest in peace to New Jack. Even though you did some shitty things, like I said, thanks for the memories. You know, they were there, they are there, and we could always go back and rewatch them for the people who are not used to un-PG wrestling. Like, it might be a little brutal for you,
Yes,
but
you can go to WWE Network and
Peacock
go
TV
to Smoky
now.
Mountain Wrestling.
Peacock TV now, streaming exclusively on Peacock TV.
Go to Peacock TV. You know, for the past 5 years, I have been so used to saying go to WWE Network. It's only $9.99.
Me too. Now it's $6.99 on Peacock TV with limited commercial interruptions and $9.99 if you want no commercials, I think. Maybe I could be wrong. Anyway, you should check out our sponsors.
Go back and watch.
They're in the link below.
We got Dr. SQUATCH's soap. If you want to smell like a pine tree, you want to smell like the ravishing ocean, you want to smell just like cedar chips that are burning on a wood fire, then you need Dr. SQUATCH's soap. It's on the only men soap around.
We also have PodDecks, where we haven't used these in a while in the show because we don't really use them for the wrestling shows. I kind of use them for random guests. But you could get PodDecks with the promo code OurTime below. Save 10% on your order below. We also have the Cut Buddy with promo code OurTime, or the link in the affiliate link. I think it's an affiliate link below. And you could check in and get yourself the freshest lineups around. Fresh. Draw it with a pencil and then just go up from there.
And while you're at it, if you are a conservative, go to louderwithcrowder.com, support the fight. Big Tech has finally made their move, and now it's our time to move back. Fight like hell. Go to louderwithcrowder.com and get some merch. This is a free plug. I've been trying to get in contact with him now for 3 weeks just to plug his stuff for free, and I told him I'm not looking to get paid. I'll plug it for free. I do a wrestling podcast.
Guess what? Hit him up.
3 weeks now, I'm going to do it. I'm plugging you in for free, bro. Louderwithcrowder.com. The fight is here. Big Tech has made their move. It's time to fight like hell.
You gotta go to his website.
Go to Mug Club.
You gotta go to his website and go all the way to the bottom where all like the support links are, and see if there's become an affiliate or something like that, or contact us to become an affiliate or whatever. But yeah, man. I mean, you could also buy us a coffee with the link below for buy us a coffee. You could get us a coffee or a beer for the show, whatever. We could say buy us a beer, buy us a coffee, whatever, you know. Whatever you drink choice, your beverage of choice.
We live in the state of New York. Weed's legal. You could buy us a joint for all we care. It's legal. You could do whatever you want. We don't care.
You could get us some Wonkas, some Wonka worms. Oh.
You can get us some Stony Patch Kids. Stony Patch Kids.
Yeah, yes. Yes, sir. You could take one of these worms and you just do a little bit of this and yeah.
You take 2 Sour Patch Kids and you just suck them down and relax.
They
kick in about an hour. You can eat them at your job. You can eat them on the toilet. Just don't sit on the toilet too long because then your legs will get numb.
I like biting them in half because they're 2 different flavors rather than just chalking it in. I'd rather like taste the blue side, taste the orange side, different flavor.
That's why I like gummy worms. That's why I like gummy worms. You get 2 different flavors 100%. On each side.
Yo, so besides like
New Jack,
besides the wrap up
Young on one side, and then you got New Jack on the other.
I mean, besides the wrap up of a quick little dark side episode that we did on this lovely Sunday, we've been giving you guys wrestling podcasts up the ass lately. So hopefully you love the wrestling shit. India, I see you. I know you guys are always following out there in India. What else do we want to touch on this week? What's going on in the political world, TJ? Who you sparring with? Who you going back and forth with on the media these days? NWO.
Yeah, the New World Order.
Who you got going on, though? What do you got going on this week, though? Anything? Anything special? Any big news about the Doge? The Doge feather?
It's pretty quiet. Keep your eyes on the Doge.
Keep buying it. Keep buying the Doge. Keep buying it, because once it becomes...
Keep buying while it's low. When it's low, buy. And I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to say anything.
Today it was at 49 cents. That's 2 for ones.
Coming to my door.
That's 2 for ones.
The FCC might be coming to my door, but just, I can't say any stock tips here, but Doge. Just like Elon Musk said, no, Mom, I'm not going to give you Doge. but I am, and it's going to the moon.
It's taking a flight with SpaceX in about a year or so.
We're going to go to Mars with it, and it's going to be the cryptocurrency.
With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, aside from the sponsors, we are going to sign off. It's an early show tonight. It's Our Time Is Now. It's actually an hour because we don't have to cover a whole pay-per-view. This was a kind of a tribute show, spur of the moment.
This is actually a tribute news chat today.
Exactly. And we are going to get those photos out. You're going to be able to be sure you check out the photos of Bruiser Brody and his son, Elias. Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time on Our Time Is Now, Wrestling with Time with Tree J, and hopefully in about a week and a half, we should have our new logo. It's always a good plus.
Yep, and be ready because WrestleMania 19, in my eyes, probably one of the best WrestleManias in the past 20 years.
100%. And with that, we are gone.